because we got a little bit of better service this morning right here. So I'm gonna see. I'm kind of a little bit far up on this run. I hope I got sound. Anyway. Wanted to get out here and fish this before the crazies show up because it's Saturday morning. So every Yahoo and his brother will be out here. And I realize you guys kind of just have my back, but in more ways than one. But the water's still up. It dropped about 6 inches last night, but I'm sure they're going to be dumping water through September, according to a farmer buddy of mine, because we didn't get the snowpack that we had. The last few years, we've always been at 100% of snowpack, but when we get to 135, 140%, they don't have to dump as much water. So again, I'm fishing basically, it's a different riff, but it's exactly the same thing in that description. The equipment's in the description. This is a little bit deeper diving because we got a little more water here. There's a few fish hitting on the surface. Haven't been any boats up the river yet this morning, so that's a nice thing about being camped out down here. I don't have to run in the morning, and I have no problem running in the dark, but it's just we got a big log upstream there that sticks out a tree, so you don't want to get hung up on it. But if you can get right behind it there, oh man, there was a fish. Missed it because it's cooled off. It was cold this morning. I got up in that tent. It was like, who turned on the damn freezer? Because it was 47 degrees, and it's going to be in the 90s again, almost 97 or something today. So it's chilly. And I just had I've got plenty of sleeper bags, but I only have my one summer bag. And it's an old bag, so I mean, when it says 30 degrees, it's really a 30-degree bag. But I was chilly. But again, I'm not expecting the world to get set on fire with fishing for the next couple of days, unfortunately, because this water being up and being muddy makes it a little bit tougher. I want to say, hey, Silly Salmon and Tim Joyner and Holy Mackerel and Travel with Travis, just talked to Ashley B. She's live. So if you get bored of this, go out and check out Ashley B's. But come back, because hopefully we're going to catch a fish here. And when we do, it's probably going to be a good one, because there's browns in here. And then at night, like, you can fish a hole out during the day or fish it and not catch anything. And again, it's not because the fish aren't there right now. It's because it's muddy and flowing like crazy. But the fish at night move up in the river. And so if there's holes that you fished during the day before, it didn't catch anything, go back and hit it again, especially first thing in the morning. Because, I mean, I know there's fish in here. It's, 18 foot deep out there to where I'm casting. It's just muddy, and I just got to put it right in front of them. Yeah, it's muddy. Like, I got probably 2 foot visibility. There's a trout rising. There's another trout rising. Little rainbows. Should catch a smallmouth in here too, but I'll run back and check the chat here in a second. I don't know if Sis is going to get on this morning or what they're doing. Jay, I'm sure, JW, man, I'm sorry you're stuck in a hospital. That sucks, especially in the summer. But we can hang out. I mean, beautiful morning, sun's coming up. I actually had to put on jeans and my mucks because, like I say, it was cold. I was like, holy crap, 47 degrees. But it is just a precursor of things to come, because I don't want to say the word, but the SNOW is about 2 months from flying. And I like chilly mornings when I'm hunting. That's a good thing. But to go fishing, it's chilly. I was going to park over there on that rock bar, but there's quite a bit of current whipping into this slough. But fishing this is almost like fishing an outgoing or incoming tide. It just doesn't change direction. So you got to remember the fish face into the current. So the best thing would be to throw it into the current and reel it back as fast as you can. But there's no way to do it with this current rocking like this. So what I'm doing is just throwing it out, and like I always do, it's hoping they'll hit it on that sweep. Because when it sweeps back, it's going with the current and it's sideways, and they could see it a little bit better and feel it a little bit better. And that's usually when I get my hits in here. But it's a beautiful morning. Usually there's a bunch of deer down here that come down across the river right here, but I haven't seen them. I've been getting them on the game cam. I know they're over there. I got to go move some game cams today, and I need to put up a tree stand and cut out a ground blind. I got stuff I got to do today that unfortunately I really can't take y'all with me, because I could probably shoot a video, but it's hard to stay live out here because, again, it's hard to stay live because I just don't have the service out here. So, when you don't have service in the United States, you're someplace kind of far away, and you'd think I was, in Frank Church Wilderness, River of No Return area, but I'm not. I'm literally about 2 miles from I-15. But for some reason, the service here it works better in the morning too, for some reason. In the morning and at night. And I'm sure it's because of all the other traffic that's on the cell service, the AT&T. But our game cams out here all run on AT&T, and they do fine. Occasionally, we get a thunderstorm or something, they'll kind of blitz out for a little while, but for the most part. So we got this main current running through here. It sweeps back around behind the boat and it's going into the slough. And it kind of makes a big eddy here. The problem is it's really muddy right here. It's a little clearer out there, of course, where the current's going through. So you want to kind of fish the edge of that too, because those fish will, I hope I don't get that long, the fish will stay right on the edge of that muddy stuff to catch, help conceal them. They can catch breakfast. And I know there's a trout out here, or a bass, that just never got breakfast. And I thought about throwing that ultralight, but it is very hard to land a fish in this current on 4-pound test. It could be a 2-pound bass, and it's a handful. And I don't have the trolling motor. I probably should have brought it so I could chase some of these fish down if I had to. But right now, I don't think we're in any peril of having to chase down some 15-pound trout. However, If I didn't think it would happen, I wouldn't be here. It just might not happen today or this morning. And tonight I'll go fish back there behind Wes's and hope nobody hit that. Because again, these main river channel stuff, they get hit pretty hard on the weekend. 5 years ago, there was nobody out here. You'd catch the floaters on the weekend. Most of them weren't fishing. Most of them were just floating. But now it's crazy how many people are out here. Oh. And I've casted a pretty good ways out there, but don't forget to cast up short. Work all the stuff right in front of you. That big brown I caught a couple weekends ago hit it right at my feet. And I only made like a 20-yard cast. So, like I say, you got to kind of pick this apart and work every little square inch of this to fish it correctly. And it'd take you a couple hours to fish this right. So I'm just concentrating on that deep hole there, hoping I can catch some of those fish that are coming back from cruising the shallows looking for something to eat. And they want one more snack before they go to bed. But I'm using 30-pound braid because in here, you got to get the fish out of the current. If you could get their head up, like if it's a brown trout or a bass and they dump, if you could turn their head and try to keep their head out of the water, then you could just kind of skate them across this stuff and get them to some calmer water. But I can't do that with 4-pound test on an ultralight rod and a 12-knot current. So, I mean, we're going to throw that ultralight here in a minute because if I can get one along the edge of this, because you will get more hits using an ultralight rod. If you're using 4-pound test, 6-pound test on an ultralight rod, doing anything, you're going to get more hits. The problem is, and I mean, don't believe me, go look it up because it's the truth. The problem is you might not land as many fish because you got to be really patient, like really patient. When you're using that ultralight, I'll catch in Florida, I was catching those big sea trout on that ultralight rod. It's like that tarpon I caught, 141-pound tarpon on 4-pound test, and it would have broke the record. But again, we didn't want to kill the fish. I think I told that story, but it took 3.5 hours. I mean, you're not really wore out because you can't horse them. It's not like you're fighting them, an offshore marlin where your back and everything. You're using your whole body to fight the fish. With that ultralight, you just got to let the drag do its work, and you have to get a really good drag system. If you get into ultralight fishing or any spinning reel, any reel for that matter, you have to have a good drag because if it's smooth, then you're not going to break off as much. If it's jerky, every time that jerks, that puts stress on the line. And that's why monofilament's a little bit better on a spinning reel or on something that doesn't have a super good drag in it because that monofilament will stretch. So it's a lot more forgiving. Where this braid, it's not so much you're going to break the line if the drag's jerky, but that jerk's gonna end up pulling that hook out. You want a strong, steady pull, not a bunch of jerks. That's why I see people. It's like when they get hung up, they'll sit there and jerk the rod, and they're just driving that hook in deeper. Well, the fish, it doesn't work like that. You jerk the rod, you're gonna jerk it right out of their mouth, or break the hook. Especially with some of these, big browns, they've got strong jaws, especially the males, because they'll get that hook jaw. The males will, just like a salmon, because they're a salmon species, or a subspecies, same family as salmon, but they get that hook jaw, and they got a strong jaw. But if your drag's jerking and catchy, I guess would be the best way to put it, you're gonna lose a lot of fish. See, that current's running so strong, I can hardly keep this bait like down in the water. It wants to hit the surface and skate across it because I mean it's ripping through here pretty good. I'm hoping that by tomorrow night, I'll do a live feed tomorrow night, about dark. It'll be kind of late, but we should catch some fish, and I'm hoping the water will clear up a little bit by tomorrow. They dropped it last night, like I said, about 6 inches, and that 6-inch drop It'll put a little bit of crap in the water in the way of sticks and grass, because I'm picking up grass on almost every cast. And grass is floating in here, not grass that's on the bottom, because I'm not even coming close to the bottom of that hole. Yeah, last night after I tried to go live and it wouldn't work, got a dang backlash and it snapped off because I had that fluorocarbon on there. Snapped off right at the knot, which, yeah, the knot broke, but it wasn't, it was, that's a lot of force on that thing. See, grass on every cast, which makes it tough because you're not doing a really good presentation when you got a bunch of grass on there. Man, there should be a smallmouth sitting right back there. It's amazing how chilly it is this morning. That sun coming up, that feels pretty good because it's actually going to warm it up pretty quick. And I'll be shedding this jacket and wishing I had shorts on. Grass again. Oh, come on. Let's see if I can get it in that smallmouth hole, which is right about there. They stack up in there. There's a ledge on the bank there, a rock ledge that's underwater. It sticks out about 4 foot. And they get underneath that ledge because even though the current's hitting it dead on, when it hits that ledge, it's like a wing and it causes a riff in there that makes for some calm water right under the ledge. And they'll just sit there. During the fall, I'll try and get somebody to get a picture of this fall. There'll be bass just stacked in here. And the water's a lot clearer in the fall. And you can see them. It's amazing. I mean, I know I could run up there behind Wes's in that hole and catch a rainbow this morning, but I'll save that for the night. I figured I'd run down here and fish for a little bit before the crazies got out here. Go pull my tree stand out from where I got it locked up on a tree back there behind camp and go get that stuff done. Been picking up some pretty good deer on the game cams. So we're pretty excited about this year. It's just hard to tell who all is going to be out here because it's crazy how many people. I mean, I hate Onyx maps. Used to be nobody knew who had what for property, and everybody thought the Snake River down here that this was all private property. And most of the Snake River along the bank is BLM. So it's not like I'm telling you some big secret because you can go on Onyx Maps and find out who owns what. So it used to be nobody'd come down here and hunt. They fished, and some people would hunt, right next to the river because they knew about the high water thing. But you didn't have people running around down here. Well, in the last 5 years, it's just blown up with people. And instead of being kind of careful about hunting down here, they just go run wherever. Now they're getting on the private property and that. Because even though they know it's private, they think they got to be on it to kill a deer. And that's not the truth. Those deer stay down here in this river bottom, especially after harvest starts. Because guys get out there and start cutting their fields, whether it's hay or harvesting potatoes or whatever. Well, those deer stay out in those fields all summer. My buddy was telling me that almost every time they cut hay, they're killing a couple fawns that are, buried up in that hay. And it's hard on equipment. Plus, they don't like killing the deer like that. That sucks. But it is what it is. But there's a lot of deer down here. And it's funny because we're so close to Idaho Falls. But whitetails, you know how they are. They get pretty acclimated to people pretty quick. The big bucks, yeah, you don't usually see them. A lot of guys hunt this during the rut. So they're out here towards the end of November, and I don't do that. It's just too cold. Plus, when I kill that big boy, I like him to be at the top of his game. Then I've done something. If you kill him if you take a deer during the rut, they're running around chasing girlfriends, so they're heading where it's supposed to be, and that's why most people come down here and hunt this late. But I don't like running this river when there's ice in it, because you just never know. Plus, it gets cold, and we usually don't have freeze up till about Thanksgiving every year. I mean, that's about the date everybody goes by is Thanksgiving. Usually by right around Thanksgiving or just after, we get a pretty good hard freeze, and it'll start getting cold. But before then, it could be in October. Hell, it could be 80 degrees one day, and the next day it'll be 20. A couple of years ago, we hunted opening morning, October 10th, I think it was, and it was 17 degrees. So it was cold, and the wind was blowing, but I took a young lady. Her dad asked me to take her hunting, so I took her out to Georgetown management area up near where we live up there between Soda and Georgetown, and on the summit. Man, it was cold. But that gal was 14 years old, and she hung with it. And she stayed sitting there with me for about 4 hours. And then both of us were freezing. I mean, she was done. The deer had already moved up off the fields up into the mountains. I mean, we saw some deer, but nothing that she was interested in shooting, but it was cold. And I've had it snow on me up at Tin Cup Creek July 4th. I mean, that happens in Alaska a lot, but it doesn't happen in Idaho a lot, but it does. And it is chilly, chilly, chilly. Let me see who all's watching. Thanks for joining. And if there's nobody there, I get it. It's kind of sucks when we're not catching a bunch of fish. Anyway, morning, man. Up to something outdoors. How you doing? Hang on, dude. I got to make you a moderator. Because there you go. Anyone have a channel that they need? I smell fish farts. Yeah, I know, right? Admiral Kirk, morning, guys. Thanks for joining me. Hit that like button, like and subscribe. We have a really good time in here. Up to something. I think I just got you modded up. Admiral, stick around a while. Bruno, morning. This way. Last night I was trying to do this sideways, and I can't read the chats. This way I can go back and read the chat. Starry 12, how you doing this morning? Pure Alaska, thanks for coming in. This is fake. IA. Yeah. 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 Hey, I got no teeth. Like nobody would freaking do this. Yeah, you bet up to something. It just makes it easier for everybody and you're awesome about helping people with stuff. We got a great community. Fishing community is awesome. It really is. Let's see. Is that Ian? It's really, I got the sun right in my eyes. Denny, hey, how you doing? Yeah, welcome, Denny. Like and subscribe, man. We do a lot of fishing. I'm fishing the Snake River in Idaho. If you guys go in the description, I got everything listed that I'm using, from the line, the lures, everything. And but yeah, good deal, Denny. I'm glad you're having a good day, man. Thanks. Yeah, hook up. And I think it's Ian Collins. It's hard, like I say. I apologize if I mess up somebody's name. It was chilly this morning, man. Like I was saying, it was cold. I got my boots on and freezing to death. But let me see if I can get a fish out of this. I just want to come back and say hey to y'all. I appreciate you liking and subscribing. And go check out the other channels, like Up to Something Outdoors. He's always up to something outdoors. Him and his wife, they're a hoot. Awesome people. Fishing community is great. And the moderators have been really good, and I appreciate that, because it's kind of a leap of faith to add somebody. Denny, like you come in here and I see you a few times, I'll make you a moderator, because it's easier to go to other channels and hook up with them. But if you can, like and subscribe to some of these other channels, because there's some really good content on here. And I've been fishing my whole life, and I actually learned something the other day about stripers that I had no clue, because I'm not a striper fisherman. But that's what it's all about. Like Tim Joyner's got an awesome channel. Holy Mackerel is an awesome channel. Silly Salmon, Travels with Travis. Ashley B's live right now. She's kick ass. Pure Alaska was just over there. saying good morning. Um, and that little gal catch some fish. She was catching some nice bass, and she's in Michigan, on the UP of Michigan. Um, anyway, awesome community. And when we do get a troll in there, Real for Life the other day, I put somebody in timeout and because they were being racist to him, and just I don't know why people have to be like that. But in here, the moderators are really good about, give them a chance for a second, but if they keep it up, just boot them because life's too short to put up with negativity like that. Plus, I've learned a couple things in my life, and one of them is most fishermen, most anglers are good people. And I found out that if you're carrying a fly rod or a surfboard, you can do anything you want to do. I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and went down there to go surfing, and I didn't know anybody, and I don't speak Portuguese, and it was when I guess the big electrical dam something happened, so they were out of electricity, and people were rioting and busted in. It looked like L.A. does now, and I was walking through town in Sao Paulo trying to hitch a ride to the beach. And it's a drive. It's like 25 miles, but up down there back then, this was in the 90s, you could hitchhike. And so I go walking through Sao Paulo, and there were some guys like destroying a freaking car. And I'm carrying a surfboard. I had baggies on. I mean, it's like you can look at me and tell like I didn't have a wallet or anything. And I know bom dia, and I said good morning, and then or good night or whatever the hell it means. Those guys stopped and looked at me, and I was like, "How do you get to the beach? Which road takes you to the beach?" And I don't think they kind of understood me, but I'm like pointing beach, like waves. And they just kind of stopped and started laughing, and they pointed, all of them pointed where I needed to go, and I'm like, "Thanks." And I hauled butt with my surfboard because I was walking, and all those guys went back to tearing up the car. But and if you're carrying a fly rod, it's the same thing, or a fishing pole. In Mexico, I've had fishing poles, because they're expensive to buy down there. So we always took our poles with us, and of course, and you go walking through any place with a fishing pole, like how do I get to the water? Like where do I go fishing? And everybody's always really nice about it. So our fishing community kind of keeps that tradition up, I think. So yeah, I'm fishing this hole right in front of me. All out here, it's deep. To the left, it goes shallow. There's a rock bank, a gravel bar that comes up. And usually I'm standing on that gravel bar, but the water's so high. That's why the fishing's been slow. After I got off that live stream last night, I caught one little bass about that long on the ultralight. And I'm going to throw it here in a second. I just was trying to avoid it. And that's one of the few times I change lures. When I'm throwing that ultralight, this current, I'm not going to throw an $18 live porter because I got a pretty damn good chance of losing it, either by getting hung up or, you hook a 12-pound, 8-pound, whatever trout in here on 4-pound test in this current. He just runs down that way. Yeah, you're never going to get him turned around, or her. If I had the trolling motor on the boat, I'd go chase him down because you use an ultralight, especially in salt water, fishing for redfish or snook or sea trout, you're going to use your trolling motor chasing fish around a lot. But I've caught some big ones. That matter of fact, on the last night, that live stream, that picture of that big native cutthroat, I caught it right here in front of us. Catch a lot of fish right here. But again, it's muddy and the current's hauling ass. But yeah, please like and subscribe, not only to my channel, go check out these other channels and support them. Because YouTube is making gazillions of dollars on advertising, and I don't think it's going to kill them to add a few more of us. I wasn't concerned with getting monetized. I've said that before on here, but my sister, who has Granny's Southern Corner, go check it out. I think it's Granny's Corner. And there's a link, and I think, I don't know how to look at it from I have a way to get from my thing to hers somehow. Anyway, she's got some pretty great content. Awesome. She's my sister, so I guess I have to say that, but it actually is good stuff. Because there's stuff that she talks about on there that we didn't talk about as kids, you know, because the world's changed a lot in the last 50 years. I mean, great if if the water was down about a foot, or even if it's where it's at now, but it cleared up. If they would just keep it steady for about a day, this water would clear right up, and all the floating crap would kind of chill out. But what happens is they dump water in a river like this. The water comes up, it catches stuff on the bank, it goes down, it pulls it into the water with it. And so they've been fluctuating this water by 6, 8 inches pretty much every day. And then at night, evaporation stops. The river will lose an inch or two every day just from evaporation. Um, so at the end of the day, around 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock is the hottest part of our day here in Idaho. The water will have come down a little bit, but when it's up like it is the last couple of weeks, um, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be muddy. I'm just waiting for that big brown to smack this thing. 'Cause boy, when they hit it like a freight train. And I mean, that's the other thing that I do different. That, like I say, I could come out here and try and catch a bunch of dinks, like throwing a, MIP spinner or something on that ultralight rod. And I could probably catch a whole bunch of little rainbows in here, but I'm talking 8 to 10 inches. And I never have fish like that. I usually fish it for a bigger fish. That's why I throw these bigger baits. I catch small fish on them on occasion, but not near as many as I would if I was just throwing a smaller bait all the time. So if I have somebody come out here that's never fished before, I'll put a real small live pointer on for them or something, so they'll catch some fish. And then after they've gotten that out of their way, then we'll put something on so they can catch a big one. But that's what I was going to say about the monetization thing. We weren't going to do it. I wasn't too concerned with it. But when that happens, I'll just use that money to take kids fishing and hunting because I do that anyway. And like my wife and sis said, that help you out and help those kids out because I'm never going to tell a kid no about going fishing or hunting because that's the future of all this stuff, man. Because those kids today are going to be the ones voting tomorrow, when they hit 18, and you want them to have a good, firm belief in hunting and fishing because, but if I was counting on my fishing last night to eat, I'd have been eating one little tiny bass. Cannot believe I haven't got but one hit in here already. That's right on top of that bar. I'm gonna throw that ultralight just for kicks and giggles. I'll probably hook some huge fish, and I'm not fast enough to jump up, pull the anchor, crank up the big motor, move you guys. We'd have a wreck. So, sorry I have to come back here and check this every now and then. Denny, thanks, man. Alaska subbed up. Good deal. Yeah, thanks. It's a Go Devil 1860 with a 40 horsepower surface drive on it. When I lived in Florida, I had 6 boats at one time because they always guiding. I had a Mavericks flatboat, master angler with a Yamaha on it. I had a or an airboat. My buddies had Go Devils. I had an offshore boat, a 32-foot hooker. So hang on a second. I'll bring this in to show you what I did. So instead of using a live pointer, this is one of the few times I don't use a live pointer because this lure I'm throwing, this is what I caught that little bass on yesterday. So throwing 4-pound test on this ultralight rod. It's a custom ultralight with a $300. This is an old 30-year-old Quantum Synergy. because I don't have this in the description. I'm bust my ass. It's got a super good drag in it. You can see it's beautiful reel and 4-pound test, but the one few times you won't see me throwing a live pointer. It's just a Rapala countdown, I think they call it, or ripstop deep. This is a $4.99 lure. $6 maybe now, I don't know. Anyway, I'm throwing it because if I lose it, I'm not losing an $18 live pointer. And I do have a fluorocarbon leader on here. This 15-pound test. Just because the rocks and stuff. And again, it's really hard. It's easier to keep lighter line. You could get the thing down a little bit deeper because you don't have the weight of the line. And even though this is monofilament, it sinks or floats. So, but with there's less drag because it's a smaller diameter, so you can get the thing a little bit deeper. Plus, they don't see this 4-pound test with this the fluorocarbon is absolutely invisible in water, and it sinks. So again, if we hook a big one here, this is going to be a handful. All I can hope is that it goes that way, because if it gets up in that slough here where the water's a little bit calmer, I'd be all right. But a brown trout's going to take off and head that way. And I've hooked some big browns right here. Lost a couple that were over 30 inches right here. And the other thing is throwing into the current. It's really hard with a 5.5 to 1 ratio to keep up with the current. Come on, I know there's a bass right a little bit further than that. We'll let the current take it down there. Just got to keep your line tight, because man, when they hit this thing, and I have my drag fairly loose, so when they hit it, they don't snap it. But again, monofilament stretches. It's a lot more forgiving than braid or fluorocarbon. But it's really hard, like I said, to go live. You know, if I'm catching fish, everybody's having a good time, especially me. But it's just hard to. I know Glenn Kerman was on last. I think I got grass. Was on last night. I didn't get to say hey. So good morning, Glenn, if you're around. No, no grass. Well, a little bit. Yeah, it's tough, this muddy water. And the thing is, there's not any place, there's in the runs over the rocks up above us there, it gets a little bit clear. But when it hits the deeper water, when it's flowing like this, it just kind of causes all these upwellings. You can see them in front of me here, I think. And it just makes it more muddy. There's a fish. There's another one. And I didn't look to see what the sonar tables were today. Again, nobody's been up here this morning but me. It'll get crazy later. I did bring my banjo. I want to sit up on the bank right here, just walk from camp and sit up a chair in and sit there with my banjo where nobody can see me, and put up the camera and play dueling banjos when people float by just to see their reaction. But last night, JW and I were talking. He's in the hospital, so say a prayer for him. But anyway, he was talking to the nurse, and he asked her, so if you were floating down a river and you heard banjos, what would you do? Would you freak out, or would you sit and enjoy the music? And she's like, oh, I'd enjoy the music. And I said, how old is she? Because she's never seen the movie Deliverance, has she? And he asked her, she's like, no, what's Deliverance? And I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought. If she was to watch that movie and I did that, then she'd kind of freak out about the banjos. I hear banjos, paddle faster. Yeah, this little Rapala, I mean, it's a great little lure. It looks just like a riverman. It's got the black stripe and stuff. And I've caught fish on this in here. Caught that bass last night. It's just, again, we got really high water, very muddy. I still would eat that though. I mean, somebody out there's got to be hungry. I just got to put it in front of them. The other reason I like throwing the ultralight is it's easy on my shoulders and my back. Not only biting a fish because you can't get carried away and horse them, but there's nothing to it. It's lightweight. Yeah, it was chilly, man. I woke up in that sleeping bag, freezing my butt off. I didn't have it zipped up last night because it was kind of warm. It was in the 60s when I went to bed. It got chilly quick. So I had a sore throat from breathing the cold air. I didn't bring any heaters with me because we usually don't need one this time of the year. And all I did was since I mean, I could wade out here, but I didn't feel like wading this morning. With the current up like this, you got to be careful. I really should have my life jacket on because if I fell in right here and got sucked in that current, I'm going for a ride. And I could swim rather well, but it's going to take me right into that cut bank, and it's hard to climb up that thing, especially when you're an old man. So if I did fall in, I just have to ride it out till I got back there, then walk back to camp, come down here, swim, and get the boat. There ought to be a fish right behind that. That gravel bar comes up. It's like, so it's about 15 foot in front of that gravel bar. It comes up to like 3 foot, even with this water being up, because most of the time that gravel bar is out of the water. So behind it to my left in front of me, it drops back off into like 7 foot of water. So there's a little run there, and there ought to be a fish sitting in there. But again, muddy water. But it's pretty morning. I can hear the eagles. The coyotes went off every morning. They do their thing. All the coyotes in the river decide they need to, you know, howl and do their coyote thing. So we already had that take place this morning. I heard a moose this morning, which I don't understand why a moose would be bellowing this time of the year, but something must have ticked him off. Um, Come on, fish. I know you're here. Nope. A lot more fun when we're catching fish. I did order a, I ordered a chest holder from my phone. So next weekend, when I'm back out here, y'all will have a much better view. Tim Joyner, again, check out his channel. He's got awesome content. He was nice enough during a fishing show. He was doing a live stream the other day, and he took the time to explain to me how he uses his camera holder, or he uses an iPhone, same as I do. And he explained how that worked, and it was really nice of him to take the time to do it. The only reason I'm not going to do exactly what he's doing is because he has a magnetic holder, so he can take it off and flip it around real easy. Well, out here, I just don't trust a magnet. And if I fall in, I need something that's going to hang on to it. So I got a chest holder that you actually screw down the phone into. So that way, if I did slip and bust my butt, which happens a lot nowadays, I'm not going to lose my phone. Because if it fell off of this current, I'd never find it. Come on, fish. And I tell you what, it's been slow the last couple days. Last weekend wasn't great. It was hot and muddy, and everybody we talked to that was fishing said it was real slow. Nancy, I mean, we only caught that one nice rainbow, and we caught she caught that one big smallmouth, and I caught that one little one. So we caught 2 rainbows last weekend and a couple of bass. That was it. No brown trout, which is kind of surprising because usually we'll catch a big brown in here. Chuck it back up there and see if I can not get hung up on that log. Because if I could get that thing to drop right behind, there's a tree that sticks out right there. And it's probably about 6 foot under the water right now, 7 foot. But the fish will get behind that tree where that eddy is, right behind the tree. There's a heron over there trying to catch breakfast. Trout killing birds, man. They kill the heck out of the trout. But anyway, I have this Go Devil. It's the only boat I have now. And a few years ago, I was using another Go Devil boat I had. It was a 14-foot tracker with 23 horsepower surface drive that didn't have reverse and all that. And I built the motor up to about 40 horsepower. So it was actually a really good running boat. But it wasn't very big and it would only hold so much. So I was making, to get deer camp in here, I was making 10 trips to get everything in. And now I could do it in 2. I could do it in 1 if I by myself. But my wife, my mom passed away and left us a little bit of money, and we were sitting in bed talking about like what do we need, because we just got done putting carpet in the house. It wasn't like we really needed anything. And my wife and I were like, I said, so what do you want to do with that money? And she said, I don't know. We don't really need anything. I'm like, yeah, you want to just put it away, or what do you want to do with it? And she's like, you need to buy a bigger boat. And I was like, I love you. And I'm like, but why do I need a bigger boat? She's like, well, it's me, you, and Eric, and we've got the dogs, and you have to make so many trips, and it's hard to fish out of that little boat. And she said, so why don't you buy a bigger boat? I'm like, all right. So I called Go Devil, and I wasn't going to get a center console with a surface drive. I mean, I was going to get a surface drive, but I wasn't going to get the center console, and I wasn't going to get reverse and all that. I was just going to get a tiller handle like I had. And she's like, no, you're getting old. You need reverse. She said, we got the money. Oh, there was a hit. Come on, baby. Nope. Hard to get a hook set with this 4-pound test monofilament. Probably a little rainbow. But anyway, she said, you're going to get the whole kit and caboodle. So we did. This came with every accessory. And I wired the trolling motor. I wired the lights. The sad thing was we bought it in May. Well, we picked it up in Louisiana in May of 2021, I think it was, and came home. I spent a month getting it wired up. I took it out one time fishing, and the next day my back blew up. So I ended up like I couldn't walk for 2 years because the nerves were so damaged. And my boat, this thing sat in the driveway for 2 years, brand new boat. And I was mad because I'm like, I didn't spend $38,000 for a driveway ornament, you know. But my wife would go out and start it up once a month, and made sure it didn't sit there and end up with a bunch of issues from not being used. Because that's the other thing, you guys who have boats, if you don't use them, it's going to cost you more money, man. You need to run the things. So anyway, so in 2023, I finally got to use my boat, and that was kind of like the carrot that kept me going to learn to walk again and all that. Because I was like, I want to go use my boat. And this thing only has 136 hours on it because I just haven't used it. And when we run this thing, like when I go to Alexander with you guys, I'm only running the motor for about 3 minutes. I don't have to run for. Up here, I run 5-6 miles to get to camp. But then once I'm here, I don't go running around too much. So it's not like we put a bunch of time on the boat. We use it a lot. I mean, it's nice thing about these Go Devils is it's a big giant aluminum John boat basically. So you get a scratch in it, you just get a paint can, green paint, you paint it. You know, I don't care if it matches. I'm not. It's a Go Devil. They're made to be kind of indestructible and just get through the crap. But I like having a surface drive up here because when this water's down, you know, below about 2.6 foot, you're running over a lot of really shallow rocks, and this thing on a plane only draws about 4 inches of water, and off a plane it draws about 6. So I could float it and slide it through stuff, and it's awesome boat. We had our little problem the other day when that fuse blew and had to float out, but I mean, that's the other thing on this river. If something happens, I could float out of here. It's not fun without a trolling motor or something, but you could do it because we did it the other day, and I've done it a couple times in my other boat, not because something broke, but because the boat had so much weight in it, it was easier just to float it out. But I did have the motor running, so I had some steering. The other day, we didn't have any steering, so Wayne Cutler was pulling his butt off with the push pull to keep us from hitting stuff. And yeah, that's the other thing. When you throw across the current like this, you've got all that line out there catching every bit of grass and sticks and all kinds of stuff. So it's hard to keep the lure clean because when it sweeps down, all that stuff just slides down to the lure. But this winter, when I'm stuck in the house and I can't do anything, I used to do a presentation that I had on fishing and how to find fish. It works everywhere. It works in saltwater, it works in fresh, because it's all about finding underwater structure or structure that you can visibly see from a bank or whatever. And I'm gonna pull that thing out. And Tim was saying he's learning how to bass fish. That's one thing I do really well, and I love teaching people. And I really enjoy it when you take somebody fishing and tell them, throw this frog, you'll catch a 10-pound bass, and then it happens. And they're just ecstatically happy because, you know, just like out here catching these big trout. I just think it's going to be a slow day today with these water conditions. Because to fish down here for this long first thing in the morning and only have 1 or 2 hits is kind of almost unheard of. So I think we need to go back to the live pointer. I have a lot more confidence in that lure than I do this one. So, I mean, this will catch fish. I have no doubt it'll catch fish, but I don't have the confidence in this lure that I have in that live pointer. So I won't fish it as long. If you have confidence in whatever you're using, it's like your knots. If you have confidence in them, use them. Everybody in Florida is all big on this FG knot or whatever it's called for joining braid to fluorocarbon. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend 5 minutes to tie a knot when I could use a double uni knot that I could actually tie in the boat with it, you know, the wind blowing, and it works. So why in the hell would I, you know, tie 5,000? And you know, when I do something about a knot, the reason I don't go into great detail try and show you is because there's 100,000 videos on YouTube about how to tie knots, and some of those animated ones are really good. So, yep, I think we go back to the live pointer. Mm. The other thing is when you guys are in your boat, and here we kind of have an unwritten rule that you reel these things all the way to the top, because the problem with this short rod is when I set it here, you can see that hook's hanging out right where it's going to catch me. And sure as all get out, it always catches you. How it can get, a fish can hit that and not get hooked, but yet I can walk by it 5 foot away and it'll catch my shirt every time. And then I'm standing there trying to mess with this shirt. And the other thing is we got a deep diving live pointer. I think I'm going to change that to a shallow running one. Sun's getting up. It's getting hard to see. Let's see. Granny. Hey, Ashley B. How are you this morning? I saw you this morning. I hope everybody's doing well. Up to something. Good morning. Granny's with us. Yay. Sis is back. Catching refresh. Yeah. Fishing Ray. How you doing, man? You haven't seen that movie Up to Something? Yeah, watch Deliverance. It's since I can't get my teeth fixed yet till September because of the surgeries I had, we were laughing. If you watch that movie, it's called Deliverance. It has Burt Reynolds in it. And actually, I like Burt Reynolds, but it was one film that he actually acted in, like he wasn't just being Burt. Up to something since 9 of us are watching. Somebody's got to be doing something fun. Yeah, everybody's like, I'm doing something fun. I'm just not catching any fish. Because it's one of those days. Ashley says she shared Granny's Southern Corner or Granny's Corner. Yeah, y'all check out that channel. My sis has got it going on. She's got some awesome information just about life. And she's a good person. And I'm not just saying that because she's my sister. But she is. She's a sweetheart. It's funny because even when she's mad at me, she's very sweet about it. And she's got a southern accent that makes mine sound like I'm from New York City. And these glasses. Oh my hell. I still think she has something worked out with Foster Grant or something because she has a different pair of glasses every time she comes on. And she actually gave me a pair of purple ones that are magnifying glasses. And unfortunately, I don't have them with me. They're in my other tackle box. But they sure come in handy. See? As you can see, this box, I don't know if I could tilt it enough without going over. See, it's all live pointers. Everything in it. And most of them are the same. I just, I'm going to change this deep diving live pointer out to a shallow one because this current's running so strong. All that it's doing, this lure, you think it'd go deeper, but it really doesn't because it gets to a point where they're, with that deeper lip on it, it gets to the point where they're going so fast, they just spin up. So you're not giving a good presentation. So, I mean, I tried it because if I could get it on the edge of this thing and get it down and it's ticking the rocks, and I probably would be a good idea to go ahead and take my Sharpie and put a black stripe down it. But I've got one in here that we're going to throw. See if we can't catch a fish. Because everybody else is catching fish today, but not Radar. Because we got muddy water, the water's up. Oh, Ashley, give George a hug for me. She's got the coolest duck. His name's George, and he loves her to death. And I mean, I'm a duck hunter, and I hunt ducks, but I think they're the coolest bird. I mean, they're cool critters. And I'm just tying a polymer knot. Y'all know how to do a polymer knot. And I'm not using fluorocarbon on this. I'm going straight braid. Last night I had a little backlash and it stopped the doggone thing and it broke the fluorocarbon right at the knot. And that's the other thing. If you use fluorocarbon, you have an extra knot. So it's an extra weak point. Sometimes you have to do it if the water's real clear. Yeah, absolutely. But for the most part, there's no sense in putting fluorocarbon on. And take these little pieces of line and put them in your pocket and throw them in the trash. Please don't throw them in the water because that little tiny piece of line there will catch up to something and kill it, or something will eat it. And it's just, I put them in my pocket and then go throw them in the trash. So we have our, and I didn't put the black stripe on this. It's basically the same thing. These live pointers, they're not hitting them because it's a certain color. People will say, oh, well, I caught them on a perch pattern. I can guarantee you if I put the river minnow pattern in front of them, they'd have hit it too. So I don't have like a whole bunch of different colors. I just use the Ghost Minnow. And if you go look in the description for this live stream, you'll see everything that I'm using. Because it gets hard to keep repeating it because I forget what I say because I'm old. Anyway, was George the duck you let out on your live this morning? Yeah, that's George. George is a hoot. They're just cool people. Cool duck. Let's see. Yeah, Ashley's got to go to work today, so I hope she has a good day at work. Some of us get to fish today, but she'll be out. It's too bad we're not all independently wealthy, where we could just stay out and fish all the time. So when you're not independently wealthy and you want to fish all the time, you become a guide. And you don't get to fish a whole lot, but you get to take a lot of people fishing. So now we have another live pointer. This one runs 4 to 6 foot deep. That other one's supposed to run 7. But see, I could feel it feels better. It's not hitting the bottom. It's not picking up as much stuff. So hopefully we'll get a fish here, because I'd be happy with one trout or one bass and then call it a morning and end on a high note. But because once that sun gets up and it gets hot, these fish are going to chill out. And I mean, if you were out here middle of the day, I've caught fish in the middle of the day when it's 90 degrees on this thing, but when the water's down and it's clearer. But when it gets hot, they shut down. If you were out here and you still wanted to catch fish, the best thing to do then is just throw a bobber out with a cane pole and a worm on it and float it through these holes, and you'll catch a bunch of little rainbows doing that. But we don't want little rainbows. We want big browns. But yeah, Denny, if you're still on, go check out the movie Deliverance. Because all I need is my overalls with no shirt on and barefoot with the hat I got on, and I would fit right in. And my banjo. We can't forget the banjo. That makes all the difference in the world. Come on, fish. I know you're in here. Let's try right here behind the boat. See if we can't pull one off of this tree. It's just hard by myself to get set up, because dropping an anchor in this current, like if I went up in the main channel and tried to, anchor in the current, I have to let all the line out on the anchor rope to get the scope to hold me in place. And by scope, I mean the angle of the rope to the anchor. And it'll start dragging. And it's hard for me to reach around underneath there with my hips and back and all to grab that anchor and pull it up. And so that's why I kind of like to stay in calmer water, because I'm literally right on the edge of this riff. Come on, fish. Yeah, check out Ashley B's channel. George is a hoot. She's usually on in the morning live for a few minutes and says good morning to everybody. And then when she goes fishing, man, she was tearing the bass up last time I watched her fish. A bunch of cormorants. Man, there ought to be a fish right there. Come on. Right on the edge of that gravel bar. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I know I don't have 200,000 people watching at one time and all that. And I'm kind of glad, because I guess if we had a bunch of people watching, you're always going to get the trolls in there. And I sure don't understand that, man. Somebody's got to be pretty miserable to sit at home and just get on people's feeds and start being nasty. And I'm 61 years old. There isn't a whole lot that bothers me. I just think it's rude, especially when they're picking on other people. Because they sure as hell wouldn't be running around saying that to people's faces. But I I wonder where my fried chicken guy is. There's a guy, I cannot remember his screen name. Every time he gets on, he asks if you like fried chicken. And I thought he was like, dude, what's up with the fried chicken? He goes, I just ask everybody that. But see, that's kind of smart because I don't remember his screen name, but I remember that. You like fried chicken. So maybe I need to start getting on and ask people if they like pig's feet or something. You like pig's feet? I'm not a big pig feet fan, but I've eaten them. And I can tell you right now, if Granny's Corner cooked them, I'd eat them because that woman can cook. I mean, every dang thing. Thanksgiving at our place with her cooking, oh my hell. You literally can't move. I mean, they put out, she's awesome. Awesome cook. So she's going to start doing some stuff like fixing some of these fish I'm catching. And even though she's in Florida and I'm way out here in Idaho, we figured, this fall or something when I'll do a thing on catching fish, and then it ain't going to happen today, but catch a fish and then clean it and show you. I showed y'all how I see that's hard to keep that lure down, man. It's just wanting to skip on the surface because that current is ripping right here. Yeah, I did that thing on how I cook fish over the fire, and it's delicious. But the feed, for some reason, my live feed, some of them just don't get saved. And like the one from last night is still sitting there waiting to load up because I don't have internet good service. So I think what happens is you lose them. So I'll do that recipe again one night here in the next couple of weeks, and I'll just do a video on it so it can get saved because it's delicious. I mean, everything seems to taste better over a campfire, but that stuff, we do it at home. We'll do it on the grill. Just put it in the aluminum foil and do the exact same thing that we do on the fire, and it's quite the same because you don't have that smokiness to it, but it's still really good. I'm gonna let this line out for a while here and see if I can get that lure in that hole back there without getting hung up. Because again, getting hung up, I'd lose it down there because there's no way I could go get it. Or the other reason I use straight braid on these is with those Gamakatsu hooks. If you get hung up, a lot of times you can just point the rod at the lure where it's hung and just hard, steady pull, and it'll straighten that hook out, or it'll break the hook. And then that way I get the bait back, and then I can just put new hooks on them later. I got a bunch of them sitting at the house that I need to put hooks on, but then I don't lose an $18 lure. Yes, sis, sorry I didn't call you. Tell you I was going live. I just thought, you know what? I'm up, I'm freezing. I better get my butt out and get moving so I could get warmed up a little bit. And I thought, well, hell, I'll just run right here. I'm right next to camp. My camp's right behind y'all there, about 100 yards. Um, but I have to come down and spend the weekends down here anymore because we used to put camp in May, and we just leave it here all year, and pull it out in November, October, November. But last year, there's some really good crawfishing in here for crawdads. Like there's you could I could go put out crawdad traps tonight. We could do a boil tomorrow for 10 people. I mean, there's a lot of crawdads in here, and that's what a lot of these fish are eating. Every fish we clean has crawdads in it. Rainbow trout, browns, catfish, everything I've cleaned in here has had crawdads in it. So people ask me, why don't you throw a crawdad powder? Well, I'm not a big I can fish plastics. It's just not my thing. And there's a lot to it in this current. And I've used them or had people with me that have thrown them and they've caught fish on them. It's just, again, you're going to go through a lot of small fish to get to that big one. Or this thing, when I get one, it's usually a pretty good fish. Come on, you guys. I know you're in here. Yeah, I fished above this last year for about 3 hours. No hits. Nothing. And the water was up, but not quite as high. And I finally hooked a brown right here above me. and I fought that thing for about 30 minutes. And it finally broke the braid, 30-pound braid. Like, I lost probably 100 yards of line, which I hate to do because A, it's expensive, and B, somewhere out there, there's 100 yards of braid wrapped around something. And again, that stuff kills things. But anyway, last year I had my crawdad traps out, and I hand built them. They're sportsman size, and I had a couple commercial size ones. And somebody stole every single crawdad trap. They didn't just clean them out. I've had people take the crawdads out of them and put the trap back. But I've never had anybody steal every single freaking crawdad trap I had. And it ticked me off because I know who did it. The boat was down here earlier that day. And it was two guys and a girl, kids, you know, younger people. And they were the only boat on the water that night because up here you could hear everything. And everybody else had left. And on a Friday night, man, I had those traps in for 3 days. And my wife was up here for our anniversary, and I was going to do a crawdad boil for her. And went to go pick them up the next morning. They were all gone. So because of that, I'm kind of skeptical about leaving camp up by itself without somebody being there, even though I have 6 game cams on it. And I've got game cams hidden. They might see 4 of them, but there's 2 of them they won't see. So I'll get a picture of them. And we've got, I didn't get the boat information. I know what the boat looks like. I saw one of the people that was in that boat that took the traps about a month later in another boat. I know it's the same guy. He wouldn't look me in the eye. They just wanted to get the hell out of here. And I didn't say anything to him because I don't know 100% for sure. But my hands hurt anymore. I'm old. And those traps take, when I had good hands, they take about 3.5, 4 hours to build one. And you cut yourself up because you're using hardware cloth, and it's just, they're hard to build. But once you get one done, it'll last you a lifetime. They're good traps. So I've got more at the house, but I'm scared. I won't put them out on the weekend anymore. Used to be all you had was the floaters would come by. They see the float because I was just putting them in the water with a milk jug or something attached to them. They see that, they go pull them up. And then they're like, oh, it's a crawdad trap. Even though I've got written all over the float, don't touch, do not move, please do not disturb, all that kind of stuff. They pull it up. They drift for a little ways, like out in this stuff. They'll pull it out of here in the calm water. They'll go out there while they're messing with it, and then they drop it in the current. So I've had traps that I found, you know, I don't know how they got 2 miles down the river without getting hung up on something, but I found them down the river, you know, 2 miles from where they were at, rolling down the middle of the river, which of course the trap's all tore up and bent. But I think that's a really crappy deal when people steal from you, because man, I hate a thief. And if anybody come and asked me and said, hey, can we try crawdadding? Is it all if we use your traps? Absolutely, man. I don't care. Just take care of them. But people, man, it's just sad. But it used to be, you know, I carry my 40 Smith & Wesson, my old duty weapon that I used when I was a cop. I carry it most for moose, because you walk in on a cow moose and she's got a calf and you startle her, she'll come tear your butt up. But now you got to carry it just for people too, because Sean was out here last year. He's a buddy that hunts up here. He has a kicker motor boat, a camouflage, real nice boat. And the float guys, if you're a kayaker or a paddleboarder and you're on a river like this, stay in the shallow water, as shallow as you can, and stay out of the middle of the main channel, because the guys come around in a boat, even in this thing, if I'm in 6 inches of water, I can't come off a plane. So you run by them, and then they get all mad because you went by them on a plane. Well, I can't come off a plane, you know, I'll end up hitting the bottom and get stuck, or, you know, whatever. So last year, Sean ran by somebody in that same scenario. There were like 20 kayaks. They were scattered all over the river. He had to pick a place to go through, and it was shallow, and he couldn't come off the plane because he has a regular motor, a regular outboard motor. Well, one of the guys pulled a gun on him and was threatening him just because, and he's like, dude, I couldn't come off a plane where you were at. And if I were you, I wouldn't be pulling a gun on anybody in Idaho, because pretty much everybody out here is armed. And not because we're a bunch of doomsday worry about crap. But man, you don't see all the crap that's going on in the rest of the world happening in Idaho because most everybody is carrying. Idaho laws, for years has been you could open carry, you can carry a weapon however you want to. Um, I've got a concealed weapons permit from being a cop, but I only use it when I'm traveling because some states you go through when I travel, you got to have a concealed weapons permit still. But anyway, yep, it's a very slow morning. I apologize for that. I can do a lot of things, but I can't make the fish bite. And here comes a jet boat. It is 8:35, and here they come. And they're going to run right by me and knock me out of this boat. There he goes. Get on the other side, buddy. Yeah, Idaho. I don't know what they're going to do. They've got a net. I have no idea. Here comes the wake. We better hang on to something because I do not want to go swimming. So when this wake hits that riff, it does some weird things. It's kind of like out in the ocean, those rogue waves. It's what happens when somebody runs a boat to here. We got to be careful of their wake. And that's why I don't like running by those kayakers, man. I mean, it sucks for them, but and then I hope y'all saw my video about the paddleboarders getting in the middle of the boat ramp last weekend and just sitting there. It's like, how rude. And I try to be patient with people, but man, nowadays it's like everybody's just out for themselves. To hell with you, it's all about me. And that's the cool thing about our channel with the fishing channels and all the people. They're all really nice people. And there's not anybody on there I haven't met that I wouldn't take fishing. Matter of fact, it'd be a joy to go fishing with them. So 8:35. A lot of people, like I said, they won't run this river after dark because there's logs and stuff floating down at trees. However, with this Go Devil, if I hit something, the motor just pops up, and it's built like a tank. The prop, I've dinged the prop up, but it's like a meat cleaver. They're just tough props. So I can run this at night and not worry about hitting anything but a moose. Because I've always said I would hate to hit a moose because they cross the river. They have no problem swimming. They love the water. And man, you cannot see them even with the lights on because their eyes don't, like a deer, you can see a deer really easy. The way a moose face is, it's hard to get that reflective stuff off their eye, especially when they're down below you in the water. And I've always said, man, if you hit a moose at night, that would suck because you're gonna be in the water. Hopefully, you have your kill switch on because if you don't, your boat's gonna keep going. What's left of it? Because even this tough old thing, man, you hit a moose 30 miles an hour, yeah, that's not gonna fare well. And that's our moose here in Idaho are Shiras moose or Shiras, I guess they pronounce it. Um, they're not near as big as the Alaska moose. Alaska moose is twice the size of the ones down here, but they're still a big critter. I mean, a big bull moose here will weigh 1,000 pounds, and in Alaska they'll be a ton. They're just twice the size. They're huge, but they're still big enough down here. If you hit one, that's not going to be fun at all. Probably going to give this about 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it a morning. Go back to camp, fix me some eggs, bacon. So there you go, sis. I'm not eating Pop-Tarts. And then I'm going to go move some game cams, go put up a tree stand, clear out a place for a ground blind. Because we got one big buck that's coming in one place that I hunt. It's been walking right by where I usually put a tree stand. I'll have to post a picture of it. It's got double brow tines. Beautiful deer. And it's July, and that thing's huge. It's still got another month or so of growing those antlers. So, and it's a whitetail. We have some big muleys down here too, but I don't shoot the mule deer because they don't taste near as good as a whitetail. And like Gary, who's coming out, my buddy, um, he's never shot a mule deer. So I mean, we've got one out here that's hanging out behind camp that'd be a good one for him to take. And he hunts whitetails in Minnesota on his property, where I'm going bear hunting in September. But yeah, no fish this morning, guys. It's just one of those days. If this water come down and clear up a little bit, we'll start catching some fish. But um, I'm hoping it'll stay a little overcast today, so it's not quite as hot. But we don't need them thunderstorms either. One more cast. I'll go check the chat, see what you guys are up to. Yeah, see, I got a good cast and I pick up a bunch of grass. Mm. But if I get all my work done today, I might try and fish this afternoon. And then tonight, I'm going to wait till right before dark. It's going to be too late for a lot of you guys to watch it live. So I might just do a video and hopefully I'll catch some fish. I know, like I said, I go up there behind Wes's and catch some rainbows in that one hole. But for some reason, the browns just don't get in that hole like they do below in that run. It's got, I'm sure at night you could go in there and catch a big brown on a topwater frog or something. Because you got to remember, a brown trout's kind of like a largemouth bass. They eat anything. They caught one downriver from here that was 47 pounds, I think. It looked like a big giant pike. It was so just big, long brown trout, big old hook jaw. So there's some big ones in here. They caught it at night on a mouse pattern with a fly rod. Catch carp in here on this live pointer too. Um, Anyhow, let's see what everybody's up to. Had it way up. Man, you guys are chatting away. Thanks for all the likes, everybody. I appreciate it. Up to something. Morning, Ed. Hey, Ed. How you doing? Where's Ed? Sean and Jade. I checked y'all out the other day, man. Enjoy watching your I'm gonna make you a moderator because I've talked to you a few times. Really appreciate your channel. Granny's, there's barbecue in Nashville. You dang right. The best sushi. So on tour, when I was on tour with the bands, I would pick something to eat for that tour. Like one tour, I just ate chicken parmesan because I'm one of those guys. I could eat the same thing every day. I don't care. But I picked like chicken parmesan. And so I ate chicken parmesan all over the country. The best chicken parmesan is in a restaurant in New York City that Frank Sinatra used to hang out at. I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, that was the best chicken parmesan. Well, sushi, I did sushi one trip. All I ate was sushi for the whole tour. For 8 weeks, I ate sushi. The best sushi I had was in Nashville at this little tiny restaurant, and some of the guys in the band told me about it. And it's a Japanese guy who I can't remember the name of the place. But anyway, it's this Japanese guy that has a little tiny restaurant. There's only like 9 seats in there, like 9 tables, so that he could seat about 18 people. And it's packed. Like you got to kind of get a reservation. But somebody did me a favor and called him and told him I was the tour bus driver for the band we were playing there at the stadium there in Nashville where the Titans play. And so they got me in, and I got to talking to him because it was the best sushi. I'm like, how do you get the best sushi in the country in Nashville? Well, there's a seafood restaurant next to him that doesn't sell sushi. And so what he does is he worked out a deal with that restaurant owner. They add fresh fish to their order so that it comes in overnight, and he's getting fresh fish to make sushi with from both the East and the West Coast. And then on the weekends, because they get a shipment on Friday, then they don't get any more on Saturday and Sunday. So on the weekends, he orders enough for the weekends because he has kind of the same clientele come in every weekend, so he knows about how much he needs, and so he'll stay open Saturday and Sunday till they run out of sushi. He doesn't have anything to make it with, and they close. And so usually on Sundays he closes pretty early, but he's making a killing and makes the best sushi in Nashville, Tennessee. So y'all, I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up, but it's actually need a bigger sinker to get deep. Yeah, I'm throwing a live pointer, and I was just throwing before you got on here. I was throwing a thing, but no, Bo, I haven't caught shit. I'm in that hole where you lost the lure. And I got a question for you, Bo Stoddard, because I love you like a brother. You know that. How is it that you lose a live pointer the other day? You use a live pointer, you lose it, and then I end up losing 2 lures out of you losing 1 because I never did get that one back from you. And I'm just giving you grief, man, because you know I don't care. Ed, make you a moderator. You guys, that way it's just easier for y'all to go to other things. Are you coming up, Bo? Are you coming up tonight? I'm glad you're on, Ed. Grandma, yeah, Granny left. Bad knots. I did the same thing right here last night. I threw it and got a backlash, and it broke right at the knot with the braid, but it didn't break the knot. It was below it on the fluorocarbon, and it did the same thing yours did. It was floating around out here, and I don't have the trolling motor. I'm gonna have to put the trolling motor next time, and I couldn't get over to it before it sank, so I lost one last night. Anyway, yeah, are you coming up, Bo? No, you're in Wyoming. Okay, man. Next weekend, maybe. In for a bit till his boys go shoot trap. That's awesome, Ed. Yeah, no problem, dude. You guys are all awesome. Everybody in this channel is awesome. Bo, I don't know what happened to that live stream we did. It did the same thing it's been doing. It freaking yeah, for sure next weekend. Good. I'll plan on being down here anyway. Bo Stoddard, great guy. Check out his channel. I don't think he posts a lot on there, but his kids are awesome. They came up and camped with us last Saturday night. Nancy got kind of miffed because she wanted to go fishing, and we didn't go because Bo and I were drinking, you know, the wild turkey, and I don't like running the boat. And then Bo came down here and lost the lure, and it wasn't on a fish. But yeah, I'll be up next weekend, and maybe I'll just plan on bringing steaks or something, and we'll just do another cookout because Nancy won't be up next weekend. Anyway, yeah, it's slow. The water's up another foot. It's at 4.6, Bo, and it's muddy. And last night I fished up there behind Wes's and caught one little smallmouth. That was it. So today I'm gonna go move tree stands, and I got a couple game cams I got to go adjust. And I'll have to send you a picture, Bo. We got a big honking buck on one of them. It's gonna be an easy hunt for me, and I'm hoping Gary or I can frap him opening weekend. There at the beginning of September. But yeah, plan on it next weekend. Please do. I'm gonna fish. I'm gonna throw for about another till 9 o'clock, and I'm gonna call it a morning and go do what I got to do today. But I'll be back on tonight. But yeah, Bo, I don't understand why it doesn't save these feeds. You know, I know a lot of people have been dropping in. I appreciate you guys who are hanging out with me. It's just a slow morning. That could change very quickly, but yeah, that over that gravel bar, Bo, right there, there's 2.5 foot of water over it. I mean, it's up. And there's people running the river I haven't seen before because they can get in here now. But Bo has a badass jet boat. For those of you guys, it's not a jet like a jet drive that's on an outboard. It's a jet boat. You run it with a stick just like an airboat. And they'll run in stuff that they won't run in mud, but it'll run shallow as this thing does. And it weighs a ton. And they're not cheap. They're bad. I was laughing about that because I think I kind of offended Kyle because I said, well, what do these things cost? Like 70 grand? I didn't know those things are $250,000. But man, they run them up the Salmon River. They run them through rapids. They run those things everywhere. And like this boat, I run it through a couple rapids before, but you got to really pick your spot. You got to have your speed up. You got to make sure the motor's down so it doesn't cavitate when you're going through, because you lose grip. And it's not a good thing to lose the grip with this boat in the rapids. But Bo's boat, man, and he's such a sweetheart because he's like, well, like when my boat broke last weekend, I didn't call him because I knew we could float out. And I know Bo'd come get me. I mean, because he knows I'd come get him. It doesn't matter where he's at, I'd come get him. But anyway, he's like, man, next time that happens, or if you get in a bind and don't have a boat, go pick up mine. And that's a good friend that'll trust you with a $250,000 jet boat, especially on the Snake River, because this place is full of rocks, it's full of gravel bars. You can tear stuff up out here fairly easy. But I appreciate you, Bo. And that'll be fun next weekend. I was hoping. But tell Cash and Gus and everybody I said, hey, because his kids are just great kids, man. They're very respectful. They're a lot of fun. There's a lot of laughing going on when they're around. It's just a good time. And I met Bo on this river. He and some of his friends come up, and the 2 years I couldn't walk and wasn't out here, they started coming up in the slough here and taking the kids swimming. And so the first time they all pulled in here comes 4 jet boats, and they come by camp. And I'd seen Bo out here before because I was sitting in a chair right there on the river, right there on the slough here. And here comes this jet boat, and you could hear he was hauling ass. And he comes down the river, and he made the corner right here and was just wide open, and then shut the motor off, and they jumped back there because they were checking fuel pressure, I think, or something. And anyway, he hops back there. And I was sitting right there. I wasn't 20 yards from him. I just kind of watched him for a minute, and he looked up and noticed me, and he's like, sorry about that. I said, no, I figured you were working on something when you jumped back there, because we have to do that in the airplane sometimes with the fuel injection. And I forgot, I don't think that's what he was working on. But anyway, I'd met him that day just talking to him from the water. And they came up and set up, and I walked over there and introduced myself, and they handed me a peach Bud Light or some kind of Bud Light that had some kind of fruit flavor. There's more grass, man. Just nice people. I got to talking to them, and I'm like, well, how long y'all been coming up here? And they said about 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, I would have met them 2 years earlier if I'd have been out here. But they're awesome. They come, when they're up here, like if I know they're coming out and I want to take a break, I can skip that weekend, because if they're out here, ain't nobody gonna mess with camp. They're just super people. But Bo's going through a little bit of hard times with some things. Y'all pray for him. He's a super good guy. They'll do anything for you. If you need a friend, man, he's there. Just super good dude. Nancy even was laughing about that. She's like, you guys were separated at birth. Like, yeah, pretty much. But Bo works in the oil fields in Wyoming. So he's got a great job, but he works his butt off. And it's hard, him being away from the kids and stuff, because he's like I used to travel for work. That's all I did. So see, there's that backlash that breaks those things off. That's why I have there is no leader on here today, because I don't want to lose another live pointer. But yeah, Bo, we went fishing on Alexander, and I was telling him about these live pointers. And I kind of was kicking his butt until I handed him a live pointer. And so a week later, he sends me a picture of a tackle container that was about half full. And he said, if you'd have told me that I spend $500 on lures and it wouldn't even fill up the one tackle tray, I'd have told you you're crazy. But guess what? He spent $500 on lures and it didn't even fill up the tackle tray. But they're awesome. They work. And that's why it's all I throw out here. Unless like I say on that ultralight, I put a Rapala on there, Bo, because I'm not losing with 4-pound test. If I hook one of these big fish, I know good and well it's going to be a fight, and I don't want to lose an $18 lure. So the Rapala works. It's just not as good as this one. But again, today, man, it's muddy. Current's running real good, real just strong. I don't know what they're going to do. According to Rick Hamilton, who farms down here, they own most of this property around here. And they're really nice people. He said that he thinks they're going to have this water up through September, because we have 100% snowpack. We got the water we're supposed to have, but we didn't get extra. There wasn't a bunch of extra snow this year, so they're going to have to run water to get it to Twin Falls. All right, we're gonna make about 5 more casts. We're gonna call it a morning because it's getting to be 9 o'clock. Yeah, Bo, if you can, come out Friday. I know that's hard on y'all, but if y'all can make it for 2 nights, that'd be great. We could go fishing and go up there behind Wes's and go swimming. And hopefully the water will come down just a little, man. If it get down to about 3.6, if it drop a foot, it would change this fishing. It would change a lot of things. I need Nancy, because Nancy kicked my butt last weekend. Maybe she could get a fish in here. Ah! Pretty morning. It looks like it might stay a little overcast today, which would be awesome, because it was hot yesterday, buddy. And then this morning, it was 47 degrees. I woke up, was like, what the heck? Freezing my butt off. I got plenty of sleeping bags, but I only had the one on that I was sleeping in, and it was kind of chilly. So instead of staying in bed, I got up and got to moving because it hurt. When you're old and sore, cold weather sucks. I used to love snowmobiling and coyote hunting in the winter and predator hunting and mountain lion hunting and all kinds of stuff. But man, I just can't do that anymore. Because just to get your snowmobile stuck, they're hard to get out. And I talked to somebody about getting one with reverse. Because I'm like, well, I've never had one with reverse. I said, would that help with the getting stuck? And they're like, no, you just get stuck even worse. Because then you try and back out of it and you just dig a hole. I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. So no new snowmobile for me. Grass. Got a stick. I don't think that was a root. I think that looked like a little piece of some kind of paracord or something. There's a lot of trash in the water. It's sad. We pick up a lot of trash on these gravel bars, filling up trash cans, and it's a shame. And then the fair in Idaho Falls, the state fair for Eastern Idaho is in Idaho Falls during Labor Day. And they get over the river. There's a bridge right there that goes over the Snake. People throw more trash. I found a duffel bag a couple years ago sitting on a gravel bar all the way down here, and I'm 10 11 miles from Idaho Falls, and found this duffel bag that had the guy's driver's license in it. I mean, money, everything. And I thought that can't be good, because that usually means we're looking for a body when I was a coroner. And so I called the sheriff's department, Bonneville County here, and I'm like, hey guys, how about I meet you at the boat ramp to show you what I found? Because if nothing else, they're probably looking for this, but they never found a body. They never found the guy. So, they tried looking at the address on the driver's license, and he was from out of state, Washington State, but they never found the guy. So they assume he's okay. Yeah, this river will give up some stuff when the water goes down. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it a morning. I'll try and go live this evening, or at least do a video fishing up there, because I need to go fix something to eat and all that kind of stuff. But it's a heck of a lot easier to read this stuff in the morning. Up to something outdoors. I appreciate you hanging out all morning. OG Cars, how you doing, man? Hope you guys are good. JW, hey man, how you feeling this morning? Give a shout out, you guys, to JW. He's in the hospital. Talked to him on the phone yesterday. He's dealing with some stuff. Say a prayer for him. Say a lot of prayers for him. He'll be all right, but he's, I'm sure um, I'll have to go back through. You guys who subscribe today, I'll go back through and subscribe to everything. I appreciate you guys watching. Jay, I'll give you a shout later on. Bo, if you're still on, I love you, man. OG, thanks for stopping in. Up to something. Thanks for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And thanks for being a moderator. All you guys who are moderating, I appreciate it. Jay was kind of the first one, and he's done an awesome job. Sean and Jade, they're awesome. Real Alive, hey, he was on Ashley's channel this morning. I need to make him. He's a good guy too. Y'all check out his channel. I don't know how he does it, but man, that dude fishes like he'll be out fishing in the morning at the dam there in Tennessee, and then he'll be fishing in the middle of the day, and then he's on like all night catfishing, and then he's right back at it the next morning. And it's like, I wish I still had that kind of energy. But anyhow, for you guys hanging out, I appreciate it. I love you guys. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Y'all come back this evening. I'll try and put something up so let y'all know when I'm going, but it'll probably be later than last night, probably about 8 o'clock my time, which is 10 o'clock Eastern. But thanks for hanging out with me this morning. I'm sorry we didn't catch any fish. Again, this water's up and it's muddy, and it's going to be kind of a slow weekend, I think, for fishing. I probably should have just bought some worms and my cane poles and sat down on the bank and caught catfish. We do have a bunch of catfish in here. They're little bullheads, and there's some channel cats in here. But catching those bullheads, it takes a bunch of them to make a meal, but you can sit down here and catch a mess of them. And they're an invasive species. Somebody put them in the river years ago, and we got a population of catfish now, a fishable population. Anyway, I love you guys. God bless you. Prayers for JW. Please get better. And give me a shout later or shoot me a text and let me know how you're doing. Granny was on earlier. I don't know if you got to talk to her or not, but she's in Ohio doing her vacation thing. And they're having a good time. My brother-in-law got to put together a Barbie castle, I think it was. Like it's like this huge Barbie doll house. So that's what he was doing yesterday. Because my grandchild, my that would be my niece. Yeah, my great niece, I guess. She's full rotten. She's a good kid. Anyway, love you guys. Y'all have a good day. I'll catch up with you guys later. Please be safe out there, and I'll see you guys tonight. Love you.